All right, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Big win for LSU tonight. Let's tell you what we're going to do. Let's make sure we go live. Once I get the little ding on my laptop, there it is.
I just got the ding too.
All right, there we are. Okay, big win for LSU, 41-7. Of course, our Tiger Bait post-game show brought to you by the Kenneth P. Haynes law firm. Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law in Shreveport. We're going to talk a little bit about him a little bit further in the show. But of course, if you need an attorney in North Louisiana, anything north of Alexandria, entire North Louisiana, he's your guy. Divorce, personal injury. And I'll talk more about Kenneth a little bit later in the show. But Tigers bounced back after a big win tonight, 41-7. Yeah. Miles Brennan looked good. You looked at the stats. His quarterback rating was through the roof. A lot of newcomers got in. Jaquelin Roy looked well. What more can you say about Eli Ricks? And I got it right. I'm going to call him Elias forever. I've been calling him Elias for years. But Elias Ricks, another interception tonight. Derek Stingley back. Does what he does every game. And so it's a big one.
Oh, yeah. You're looking at the stat sheet on this game. Miles Brennan, serviceable night, 23 of 37, 337 yards. I can't remember the last time an LSU quarterback, if ever, has opened up their career. Their first two starts, they get 300 yards. So 4 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, and quietly, Brennan's got 7 touchdowns with 3 interceptions on the year with just shy of 700 yards. So he's doing pretty good so far on paper. Now, was he perfect tonight? No. Coach O said that. He had an interception that was just ugly. Oh, boy, was that an ugly interception. But then on just about the next drive, on almost the same kind of pass, he hits Terrace Marshall on a seam route up the middle, and boy, was it a laser. Terrace Marshall just takes it up. So there was some highs and some lows, but mostly highs tonight. It seems like they put a lot of effort into fixing the issues from last win. We've got Chris in there saying, hey, great win tonight. I agree.
No doubt, no doubt. It's look, there's a lot of positive here, and I know after last week everybody was revising their season prediction season predictions, wins, losses. I was one of the guys. You were 8-2. I was 8-2. Our Brian Lazar was 8-2. Everybody was saying, can this team go 6-4? Can they avoid 5-5 or 4-6? All that kind of stuff. And then when you watch them tonight, and if you watch all the other SEC games today, you can see where, first of all, this LSU team is going to get better every week. I believe that. And I know what's going to happen tonight with Mississippi State. I know you want to talk about that. But Arkansas goes to Starkville, gets the W. Arkansas is a better coach football team. They made a right move.
Oh, that is a statement.
Yeah.
Better coach than Mike Leach?
No. I'm talking about
LSU.
I'm talking about Arkansas making the move with a new coaching staff.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah, no, they are better than they were last year. Sam Pittman is certainly an upgrade. I mean,
yeah.
He's done some serviceable things there with him, and a huge win. I mean, I looked at Mississippi State. I understand LSU didn't play perfectly last week, but I looked at State and I said, that's an 8-9 win team. They're going to compete for the SEC. And now, y'all, look, I think we're all in disarray now. I mean, is Mississippi State not that good and LSU is really bad and Vanderbilt is just toe cheese?
I just think it was a perfect storm for Mississippi State when they got LSU. Talked to someone in the program this week. Look, it was the Derek Stingley thing. When it happened, 10:30 at night on Friday night, really shook the team up. He's a leader, not just because of his ability, but just the way he is on that football team. A lot of players didn't really sleep at all that night because of it. It just really threw a monkey wrench into everything. Of course, his ability and what that meant on Saturday. New scheme, guys finding their way. Not having Glenn Logan, of course, didn't have him again tonight. But I think, look, Jaquelin Roy, Keyshawn Booty, I like what I saw out of him tonight. Gilbert again, Jeray Jenkins.
Coy
Moore in there. I need to go down the list.
Yeah.
But John Emery was big. Chris Curry out for what?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything substantiated. I can't confirm anything, but I am seeing reports that he had an illness. Coach O in the postgame presser, they asked him about it, and he said yes, he was out.
Yeah,
that
so
was his.
look, we don't know if it's COVID. We don't know if he's got bronchitis, allergy, and sinus infection, whatever it is. Look, he's a number 18, but look, John Emery and Tyrion Davis-Price did a good job tonight. John Emery over 100 yards. That was one of the things last week that I was disappointed in, was the lack of a running game. I thought they needed to come out today and have some power. And look, 161 total yards rushing. Emery with 103. Josh Williams looked really good. 8 carries for 30 yards. Ty Davis-Price added another 29. So nice little even load there between those three guys. Emery with 12. Ty Davis-Price with 8. Josh Williams with 8. And, you gotta like that. 8.6 yards per carry for John Emery tonight. There was one early in the game where he broke through and he's like, "Hey, I broke through here. I didn't expect this."
What's happening?
Yeah,
here, right? Like, what do you do now?
Like it's like, boy, just if he could have kept his feet, it would have made the difference. But look, man, when you look at these numbers, and I think there's something to talk about with Joe Burrow last year and what we saw last year. If that was something that we had never saw and it wasn't fresh on our minds, and you're looking what Miles Brennan has done the first 2 weeks, and if you just, I don't know, they came in with the Men in Black thing and hit you with the amnesia thing, and you forgot all about past history or just last year. Take that one out.
Yeah.
And you're comparing them to all the other LSU quarterbacks in the last 10 years, the way he's come out the first 2 games with his stats lines. It's kind of, it almost would probably be above average.
You hit the nail on the head. Now, check this out. It's not only is it above average, Mike, okay? So, in a 10-game shortened season, okay, he is on track to break the former LSU record in just 10 games. He's on track to throw 35 touchdowns. So, not only set it, but break it by a wide margin based on what, erasing what Burrow did a year ago. So 365 days ago, we'd be eyeing ourselves down, looking, saying, is Miles Brennan the best quarterback in LSU history?
And look, I what it might have been if LSU would have had UT San Antonio and had a chance to see Mississippi State play on film a few times before they got him. I just think that was a perfect storm with everything that went into last week. But I think if you, as an LSU fan, if you were disgusted after last week's loss, based on what you saw tonight, I think you're a lot happier, and you can see where this team's going to be fun to watch. A lot of new faces, guys that are going to make mistakes, but they're going to get better each week. And I think it's going to end up being a fun season. I really do, because as somebody who covers recruiting and knows these kids that are getting into the game and are on the participation chart, I think it's going to be a big positive for LSU. So I'm going to enjoy it from that standpoint, just seeing all the guys getting their opportunity to be the guy.
I mean, it's not like there's no talent on this team. Even with losing 18 of 22 starters and a pair of offense and defensive minds that helped this team, I mean, John Emery Jr. is still a 5-star back. Chris Curry, highly recruited 4-star back. I mean, you still have back-to-back years where you pulled in the number 1 cornerback in the country. And when that tandem was on the field tonight, I think the defense looked just refreshed. Cordell Flott looked in that nickel position like a new man. Even though he did give up a touchdown, he probably is not happy with himself for giving up the touchdown. But Stingley, we saw him, not break up, but prevent a touchdown in the end zone there. They didn't even go Stingley's way.
Yeah.
They literally just avoided his side of the field, just like it was when he was in high school.
And by the way, one thing, if you had a chance to see any of the Vanderbilt Texas A&M game last week, look, Vanderbilt, first of all, they're a well-coached team. Obviously, they don't have the talent level of the major powers in the SEC, but they do have a good defensive line. And LSU's running game tonight, doing what they did, I think, is a big positive. Kenneth P. Haynes says, boy, that's a nice-looking sign. Dang, that's a great sponsor sign. You got it, Kenny. We appreciate you being our sponsor. And please, everybody, hit the like button and share this on your Facebook timeline. We appreciate y'all spreading the word of our Tiger Bait shows that we've been doing. I think we're doing 3 of them now. And I'm really stoked about when I'm going live in high school football stadiums, just for the minute or so that I'm saying, this is where I'm at. There he is, Walker Howard, Arch Manning, Thursday night. And by the way, y'all need to go to tigerbait.com and check those videos out. I've seen what's out there, and nobody's video from those two games, Newman at East Jeff on Thursday night, and last night I was editing video 3 this morning on Walker Howard. So I saw Arch Manning and Walker Howard back to back. Drove to Jefferson Parish Thursday, Lafayette last night. Saw them both back to back, and so you can see that right on the front page of tigerbait.com. Interviews with both. I was there for the first post-game press conference of Arch Manning. We had that in that story, and Walker Howard last night. So both of them fantastic football players, and Walker Howard last night, 5 touchdowns. Amazing last night, his first ever start. It's amazing we've been talking about him forever, and last night was his actual first start for varsity.
Yeah, I know.
And Jack Besh, if you see the Jack Besh on there, he's just one of those kids. I think as the season goes along, people are going to keep saying, is there any way LSU will offer him? And he's committed to Vanderbilt, by the way. So Besh, of course, is a famous name in LSU football history, and so we'll be talking about Jack and Walker Howard. Ollie, the Arsenault kid, played well for STM. So check that out, Tiger Bait. Hit like, share, and we appreciate y'all tuning in to us for all of our shows.
By the way, if there's spot for them in this class, with only 7 spots left, and maybe half of them are going to go to 5-star kids if they go their way.
Yeah, well, and that's another point. I put out a war room Thursday afternoon. Yeah. It's absolutely chock full with how this LSU class is going to finish out. Got a lot of positive feedback on that war room. That's been an institution of tigerbait.com for 20 years. Go check out that recruiting reset I posted Thursday afternoon.
Literally anything you need to know about this class, guys, it's there. If you have any questions, he went and laid it all out. There's only so many angles you can go with this class. And, you cover basically every single one of them. I have a real big question, okay? You've been doing the recruiting here in Louisiana for, 20-something years, right? Have you ever seen 2 quarterbacks in high school football in Louisiana as good as Arch Manning and Walker Howard at the same time?
No, and then you've got, Eli Holstein at Zachary.
That's right.
He's got an LSU offer. I'm anxious to see Ricky Collins at Woodlawn High School, class of 2023.
Reese Mooney, Denham Springs.
Yeah. It's amazing what we're seeing, and it's these RPO offenses, and I can't wait I want to say, it's so odd for me to say I can't wait to go to Woodlawn. But Woodlawn's got a quarterback, and I'm loving it. That's former LSU quarterback Marcus Randall's the coach there, and I think he's got something going there. So,
and look, I've talked to Coach Randall a few times. He can coach. He knows football a lot. He's a sharp guy. He'll develop him. Hey, we got a cool comment from our favorite finalist here today, Mr. Kenneth Haynes.
Yeah.
Mississippi State may have been a perfect storm, but Pelini is still getting $2 million and should have LSU able to play more than man coverage. On one hand, you want to give them a pass. On the other hand, dude, this is LSU. We're trying to be something. You don't see, Saban roll out there just not ready to play. It's always, so if you want to be that, you got to cut the excuses. That being said, the only thing I'd say that's out of the ordinary is COVID hit LSU particularly hard. It's kind of a bizarre scenario.
Well, look, you have the draft, the free agent signings, the opt-outs, and then when you lose a Glenn Logan for 2 games, a starter, Tyler Shelvin, opts out. It all adds up. And then Derek Stingley, who's arguably the number 1 player in the country. I keep saying it over and over. You could take Jamar Chase and sit on that side of the debate stage and say he's number 1 in the country, and I can be over here saying Stingley, and then we can go somewhere else and say LSU had the best 2 players in the nation.
Yeah, I know,
and make your argument against it.
Look, I was literally, as I was kind of drafting my thoughts in my head over the summer about how good I thought this team was going to be, it was kind of bizarre to me that people were overlooking the team with possibly the 2 best players in the country. Well, obviously that's not the case, and it certainly wasn't the case against Mississippi State, as both of them were gone. And that's about as, I mean, you couldn't pick two bigger blows for this team to have happened over the summer than losing those two guys. So, in my midweek show, I talked about how, ultimately I'm kind of sticking with my guns on my prediction with this LSU minus the Mississippi State. So basically, for the final 9 games, I predicted them to go 7-2. I think they'll still go 7-2.
Well, look, I was never on the A&M train before Osborne and other issues, and before COVID hit. I was not. I've never been a fan of Kellen Mond at quarterback. Watched them today. A&M is beatable, because I think there's enough talent on this LSU team if they stay healthy and get better every week, and these kids get more confidence that are being thrust in the spotlight, and I think they're gonna each week. I just think there's a lot to be excited about. Yeah, it's a win over Vanderbilt, but I'm looking forward to watching. I didn't get to see any of Auburn in Georgia. I don't know how LSU is going to stack up against Auburn. I talked to someone before we went live that thought that game was winnable. I watched a little bit of Florida today, but yeah, it's still there for LSU to meet expectations, I think. And most everybody's expectations were 8-2 or 7-3.
Let me tell you, today anybody in the SEC not named Alabama looks a lot less scary. I mean, there were kinks in the armor on all those teams. Alabama just rolled A&M, but I'm really thinking A&M is very bad this year. Is what I'm just not seeing a very good team
but there were some people, and I'm not, look, I know a bunch of Aggies, and they were like, they thought that they were talking about last SEC media day that this was their year.
Yeah,
they were projecting ahead of time, and that this was the year that they would make a run for the West title. And now I'm looking at them, and I'm like, man, maybe they're 4th or 5th.
I mean, it's wild. And, it's rare you see a team finish with top 10 recruiting classes like this. That's just not very good. I mean, people were saying LSU was underperforming at 9-3. And here A&M seems to be on the perpetual 7-5 train with top-notch classes. And it's just strange to me that they can't find that Jimbo Fisher all of a sudden can't find a quarterback. Like, I understand Kellen Mond has been his dude, and that's been a big excuse for a while now, but it's been 3 years. Why can't you find somebody better than Kellen Mond to lead your program, Jimbo? Go recruit.
Hey, I want to talk about our sponsor, Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law. Of course, he's the official attorney of TigerBait.com. Been a long-time subscriber. One of our best message board posters on our Tiger Den premium message board. Always has great insight, and he'll argue with you to the cows come home, which makes sense as he's a great attorney. But look, you see the sign behind us. Call 318-222-2100. Kenneth P. Haynes, based in Shreveport, and look, he's with a full-service Shreveport law firm at Weems, Schimpf, Haynes, Shermwell, and more. And he's the only lawyer in the state practicing outside New Orleans that is board certified in appellate practice and family law. He's been board certified in family law since 2004. He's been board certified in appellate practice since the inception of the specialty in 2017, and has over 30 years experience representing individuals with their litigation needs, family, personal injury, commercial litigation. And like I said, he's a founding member of TigerBait.com and one of our absolute best posters, and we love having him as a sponsor of our Facebook Lives. And look, we got him a bigger sign for the show, so it's a lot more legible, and so much appreciated to him. His law firm, by the way, is in the description box at the top. Check him out. Hopefully none of you need a divorce, but if you do, he's your guy.
Well, of our sponsors, he's probably the most well-versed with SEC football for sure. Hey, we got a really good question here from Mike Smith. Why did LSU not play Max Johnson in the fourth quarter when up by 5 touchdowns? I'm going to give my insight. I'm pretty sure it's to keep his red shirt. I mean, if you remember back when Miles Brennan was backing up Burrow, they waited till the final 4 games of the year so that they could preserve the red shirt because now
but
they
even
can
then,
play
but,
full.
but now there's a free year for COVID.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
So the red
is that
shirt-
really settled though? I mean, I just don't know
Yeah,
where that one's going to land.
Yeah,
you know?
and then not only that, it's not a deal about consecutive. So
Yeah, I mean, it's so. I mean,
I would like to see him. I think he needs to get some reps.
the secondary reason, my first reason, I do think that, in case all else fails, you do get to keep that red shirt based on the previous rule. Just don't play him in more than 4 games. Second, can you really say Miles Brennan doesn't need the experience still? I mean, I get he played pretty well tonight, and he even had spots last week he played well. But he's still working on a lot of things.
Have you seen him take a shot yet that you really said, boy, how did he get up from that one? Or boy, he shook that one off pretty good.
Nope.
He hasn't really taken a big shot yet.
Yeah, no, he sure hasn't. And maybe that's something every quarterback needs to
And that's been my whole thing with Miles for the longest time. Like everybody says, well, what's the word on Miles Brennan? How good is he? And,
yeah.
But like, man, I don't know. My biggest thing with him is, first of all, of course, now he's 218, 220 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll keep that. I don't know if he'll keep that steady throughout the season. Does he maybe get down to 210? But either way, it's better that he's got the meat on his bones now. But he hasn't taken a big hit yet for us to really see. Well, look how he handled that.
No, and I think that's a bit by design when you think, because if you're LSU's coaching staff, I mean, you got 2 true freshmen.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, somebody's going to run free and get it.
Eventually, but yeah. For me, I'm just so keep him clean, because if you want a good season as LSU, it's through Miles Brennan, period.
Did you watch Cam Wire in there on the offensive line tonight?
I watched a bit of him, and, I think he played well. I mean, I don't think offensive line even gave up a sack tonight. I'm going to double check that. But, I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to tell because, you're playing Vanderbilt ultimately, and none of those guys are blue chip recruits pushing you.
Well, I tell you what, you look at Andre Anthony. He was way up there with tackles tonight. He had 6 total. He had 3 solos. Again, I'm loving watching Ali Gay. I thought I was going to keep a tally of how many times he got held tonight, and there was no call. I saw 2, but when I rewatched the tape, I bet you there's probably 3 times that many. But yeah, Jacoby Stevens led the team with tackles, 11, 5 solo. Jabril Cox, another big night, 7 totaled with 6. I want to check some of the participation here, see if there's Jordan Tolles. Jordan Tolles was the guy that we were hearing a lot about at the start of spring, and then COVID hit after 2 practices, and he's just kind of, been there. Good seeing Jaquelin Roy in there. I think he looked really good tonight. Yeah. I think he's got a lot of promise. I'm anxious to see once Jacoby and Guillory comes off the ankle. But I know when I saw Jacoby, and when was that we went to Torchy's, and he was, what date was that? End of July?
Oh, man, yeah. It was grand opening, so it would have been end of July.
We saw him in the parking lot at Torchy's, and he was 328 pounds.
Oh, he was a big boy.
Yeah, so
he was not like overweight per se. He was stacked. Yeah, I saw Terrace Marshall there the other day. He wanted to come pet my little dog there. Tofu.
Yeah, Chris Vanessamesh Domain. Keishawn Booty had a great game. Yes, he sure did. That flea flicker play was awesome. Let me scroll back. We got a bunch
hey, can we talk about that flea flicker throw?
Go ahead.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, just it was tough, and he had pressure in his face. Miles Brennan stepped up and delivered the best throw of his career. He put it right on the back of the end zone. Just if he put it 1 foot further, it's out of bounds. So beautiful throw from Miles. Let's see here. What else do we got? Someone's saying Nix is terrible. Yeah, he looked. I don't know what the deal is with Nix. He's highly recruited, got a big arm. I mean, he just can't put it together. 6 points for them to get again today. That is terrible. Kenneth Haynes saying Jaquelin Moore, number 99, is a growing man. And, I mean, you're absolutely right.
Did you watch it? Did you flip over to Arkansas?
I did, but I didn't want to
Felipe
miss too
Franks,
much.
man, he's a guy you just look at him. And look, it's not because he decommitted from LSU and all that, but, man, he's just – I don't know, the way he acts and his mannerisms, he just rubs a whole lot of people the wrong way.
Well, to me, I look at it, it's almost a blessing for LSU that Felipe Franks didn't come here because he might have scared off Burrow and Brennan, because, I mean, as a true freshman, he has all the physical tools,
I mean, look, I'm not going to go crazy on Miles Brennan, but there's a lot to be excited about. But when you look around the SEC quarterbacks, team by team, Trask, okay. Who you put at the top? Trask?
Oh, Trask, easy.
Mac Jones, too?
Yeah, Mac Jones, and then I'll put KJ still. I mean, he's still through for 3
All right,
yards.
so where would Miles Brennan be?
Fourth.
Next year?
Fourth?
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. I mean, you got to respect what he's done so far. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Miles Brennan has played well. Today, he improved dramatically. I can't wait to see the in-depth stats of how fast he got rid of the ball. Because, it seemed like sometimes he was too quick where he's dumping it off to the tailback just because they're open. But that's okay compared to last week where he wasn't taking those open looks. He was looking for the Hail Mary every single time, and it paid off. It paid off. He had a much better, much safer game tonight.
Well, I think, look, I listened a little bit of Miles, and by the way, go to tigerbait.com. Well, we've got the Ed Orgeron video on the front page. All that stuff's free. Preston's postgame story. With quotes in there. We've got the Miles Brennan and Jacoby Stevens post-game interview is combined. So you'll see the picture of Miles, but they run after each other. It's all in one video. That's all on the front page of Tiger Bait. We got Brian Lazar's analysis. And like I was saying earlier, you really need to check out the Arch Manning and Walker Howard packages I put together the last 2 nights. I've been busy as heck on the road. And nobody does prospect video better than we do at tigerbait.com. He was at Le'Veon Moss last night. I'll have that Monday morning. Of course, the running back from Estruma got pulled early. Injury, right. A little heat, maybe something else.
What's funny about that, I got a very good shot of his injury itself. And it was the most bizarre injury I've ever seen on the high school level. He's going to be okay, a little overheated. Is what they're saying, and there was a few players in the area overheated. But go check it out. He shows a lot of talent. His team didn't quite have the offensive line, but he's a dude.
Look at Devin Coleman, LSU versus Florida in the SEC championship. I don't know.
Look, here's the thing. Bama looked pretty good today. Yeah. I don't know. I won't say they don't have a chance, but Mike Smith put a very bold comment, and I'm going to disagree. But it's Brennan has the best arm I've seen at LSU since Jamarcus Russell. If
you were talking velocity,
I don't know
who would have more.
All right, so let's if we want to talk about arm velocity, wouldn't you say Brandon Harris? He could put a whip on there.
I bet you Harrison and Miles are pretty close.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But when people talk about arm talent, I always look at how many throws can they make on a passing track. How many of them can they accurately make? And I think Mettenberger had more arm talent. I think Burrow with just the kind of throws he could accurately make had better arm. Although Brennan can probably throw it further and faster.
We're about to see a whole lot of velocity in the program. Garrett Nussmeier's got a velocity, a live arm. Walker Howard, who's committed. Walker Howard's had velocity since middle school. Arch Manning's got a little bit more of a softer arm touch. But when I was there watching him play, he was, as soon as he goes to the sideline, he's getting his iPad and he's watching the film. So he's got that Manning study in the game thing going. But no, I think there's a whole lot of velocity coming LSU's way, and LSU is very much in it with Arch Manning.
Could you imagine heading home to family dinner and you got Grandpa Archie, Uncle Peyton, Uncle Eli, and Papa Cooper, dissecting your game today? Son, on that cover 3, you should have checked down to this.
I tell you what, I keep going back to high school football because I'm excited about what I saw with Walker Howard last night. But what is the capacity at Memorial? 21,000?
Yeah, about 21,000. Yeah.
So if that stadium's allowed 25%, I'm telling you, folks, that is a ticket you're going to want.
Yeah.
You're going to want to be at that game at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
Because Catholic High is loaded. Emory Jones on the offensive line. They got a lot of talent on that football team. Shelton Sampson, many more, several great running backs, linemen, STM and Walker Howard with Besh and Arsenault and a bunch of other high quality. That game last year, Catholic at STM, was probably the best high school game I've seen in a handful of years. And I think it's going to be another good one in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I can't remember who Catholic has next week. I know STM hosts Rummel. So yeah, if it's full 25% for that one, I'm assuming that's going to be like a Cox game of the week or something. That if it isn't, maybe you do VSN pay-per-view. But if you can get there, I think that's going to be a game that you're going to want to see.
Yeah, Aaron Abu Johnson. Brennan is going to be a hell of a quarterback at LSU. Just wait and see. So I think what's really important, he showed a lot of his potential last week, but he took steps forward this week. He improved himself. And if he keeps on doing that every game and out, he's far from a perfect quarterback. And I'll even say, his accuracy at times is a little flippant, but he might have some limitations, but he could be a very good quarterback. He might, statistically speaking, he's literally on track to be LSU's second best all time right now. So I think that, especially if he stays a second year, there's some potential there.
Devin Coleman is high on the Tigers. He has him versus Florida in the SEC championship game. He's got him going 9-1. He doesn't know about Bama though.
Yeah, we'll see.
If you're going to go 9-1, you haven't beaten Alabama.
Hey, Mike Smith asked you.
Why is Walker Howard not a 5-star? I know on TigerBait.com, I've got him staged at the right spot to where he can get there in a hurry. I just wanted to see him play varsity football. That's why I was there the first night. I wasn't going to miss that for anything last night. And I think he's going to be there in a hurry. And if any of the other networks don't have him within close range so they can get him there in every third quarter of the year when the ranking periods are done at several of the networks, then they're high on something and they're not coming to Louisiana and evaluating film at all.
Yeah, sometimes they miss it, but I don't see how you can miss it with a guy like Walker Howard. I guess the only knock on him is he just took his first varsity snaps and nobody's had time to react. It'd be pretty impossible to rank someone 5 stars without having taken varsity snaps.
I have him, I think, as a 96 right now. 99 and 100 is a 5-star. So 96 is, let's say it was a top 100 nationally. At 96, he's probably somewhere in the 40s. Or maybe the 30s,
I would be shocked if Walker and Arch Manning are not 5 stars by the time it's all said.
Didn't someone put Arch as a 5-star already?
Well, he's the number one quarterback and very highly ranked, but nobody's got a 5-star for 2023 yet.
Yeah, we'll see on that.
He will clearly get that, and Walker's well on his way. Walker really doesn't have much to develop. He might need to put on some weight. Hopefully he grows a little bit, but the size is already good enough.
Mike Smith, I saw Eli Holstein had a great game last night. Yeah, we're hoping to get to see Zachary in the several weeks here as soon as possible. See him and Chris Hilton, they've got other players that you need to keep an eye on. Zachary's always loaded, and they got great coaches at Zachary.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of talent, and keep an eye out, for a good friend of Chris Hilton's, Brian Thomas, who we are expecting is probably an LSU favorite at this point, but Bama's lurking for him.
I tell you what, I'm with all the stuff I've seen going to Mississippi because they started their season early, and going to all these high schools in August to see scrimmages and 7-on-7, and seeing what I'm seeing from different levels of high school. It's starting to grate on me more and more that we still have the public-private split. I know it's kind of going off tangent here, but that needs to stop. The public and the private schools need to come back together soon. I don't know who the athletic directors are or the principals at these public schools that are voting against it, but they need to stop. The next vote, public and private schools need to come back together and start playing each other.
Yeah.
So that way we don't have some of these hollow state championships and some of these teams in the playoffs that don't belong there. It's downright silly. And I can tell you another thing. Following recruiting, you want to talk about who's doing more recruiting than anything else is public schools.
Look, man, I will use my.
And I'm a public school guy, by the way. I'm a product of public schools, so I'm not a guy who graduated, from a $20,000 a year private school.
I mean, I hate it when adults ruin sports for kids, man. Some adult out there got tired of losing to John Curtis or whatever school like that, and they decide to do this complete.
Well, look,
crap
you had the stuff back in the day with Evangel, and everybody's got an anecdote from somewhere, and the whole philosophical thing. I'm one of those people that think, look, man, if I've got a daughter who's got a gift for volleyball or softball, and there's a great coach at I think in my house, whatever public school, and they can go to U High and because they got a better program and a coach that played NCAA volleyball or something, I should be able to go and it not be a problem. Just like a math kid can go to a magnet school, or I mean, some of these things are really archaic.
There is no reason 18 teams need to be playing for a state championship every single year. There's not 18 teams in the state who even truly feel like they have a special season.
And this all ties in because Malik Neighbors, who LSU offered wide receiver at Como, he's in the south side of Lafayette, where there's the new South Side High School that opened up, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago. And schools in that little area, whatever, can make the decision to transfer to Southside, which is a brand new school. Well, he made the decision, and now the folks at Como are blocking him from playing. He's a senior. He's currently committed to Mississippi State for football. LSU offered him last week, and now he's unable to play football because he's being blocked.
Nothing angers me more. Let's move on to something.
Go ahead. Yeah, I went off on a tangent.
No. Well, I like tangents like that, but I want to talk about something that makes me very, very happy. And that is Zach Von Rosenberg. You know who the best player on LSU's team is?
On Twitter?
Zach, well, he's the greatest.
Who's better on Twitter than him?
Me?
No, I'm talking about football players.
Oh, no.
Just as far as funny.
Oh, no one, dude. No one can top Zach on.
No,
At least not LSU Twitter. I'd have to go look at some.
No, he's got a quick,
yo, he's funny.
Sharp,
dude.
dry sense of humor. Follow Zach.
So Zach, I've always told Zach he's special to me because of him. There's never been an LSU roster.
He's older than you.
He's older than me.
Yeah.
There's never been an LSU roster where I would be the oldest player on the team because of Zach. It's an anomaly. I'm 28 and I'm still not older than the team, so it's great.
Well, I was looking at him out there tonight, and he probably would laugh if he heard me say it. But I'm looking at him, and he's got his shirt, and he's got a little paunch, and I'm like, well, he's getting that middle-aged bulge. I mean,
I joked with him the other day when he turned 30. I said, joke's on y'all, but, when he gets to the league, he picks up all these Cialis and AALP sponsorships. Joke's on them.
Yeah, well, he's working on the dad bod.
He rocks it. Well, check this out. This ain't dad bod numbers here. 3 punts tonight. Okay, average 40.3, which sounds kind of meh until you hear 3 punts down inside the 20. Every single punt, including a 50-yarder, got down inside the 20. I mean, he's been playing lights out this year. He will probably win the Ray Guy Award. Shout out to a distant cousin of mine, Ray Guy. He's just been incredible. So that's one of the unsung heroes. He deserves every bit of the praise, though, because, I mean, he's playing lights out. Absolutely lights out.
Kenneth says Zach Von Rosenberg is one of the best high school pitchers you ever saw.
Yeah.
I remember we did the story on that, and then I know that's one that probably still burns Paul Maneri up. Yeah, it's.
If only he could have offered as much as the Pittsburgh Pirates were.
Right.
He was a 6th-round draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he never really broke into the majors. I mean, he made some decent money, but I mean, man, he had some serious talent.
We hadn't really talked about it tonight because we were talking about Keyshawn Butte, but John Trey Kirkland had a big night tonight. And that's another one. So I think that's going to be a part of what we're going to see in the coming weeks. Is it's going to be fun to watch guys like John Trey Kirkland, Keyshawn Butte, Jeray Jenkins after a good week last week. I thought Ray C. McMath had a pretty play, a reception for his one for 22 yards.
Yeah.
So, and Coy Moore got in. Look, I mean, they had a lot of receivers.
Well, you know who got the most catches tonight was Arik Gilbert.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of a quieter night for him, but he's subtly putting together a pretty good campaign here.
I like the bounce. In fact, there had to have been bounce. What's the total rushes, plays?
Oh no, it wasn't very balanced actually. So check
wasn't.
this out. It was 37 pass attempts and 32 rush attempts, which is
that's balanced.
That's pretty balanced actually.
That's
I don't know where I was getting. Here's the deal. I look at John Emery Jr. at the top with 12 rushes,
right?
And you kind of assume, but then you see Josh Williams there at the very end. Let's put it like this. Until the fourth quarter, there was not very much balance at all. Because you see Josh Williams, who didn't even get into like the last drive, got 8 carries there. You know, so I mean, until the very end, it really wasn't balanced until it was the garbage time.
Devin Coleman, John Emery, so much better than Curry. Mike Smith, Zach Kinman, the right guy. You said that already, also, or you read him. Let's see. Let's get some more of your questions, or are we? What are we? We've gone 30. What? 30?
No, we're about 45 minutes. Look, here's the thing. We're gonna wrap up here in just a bit, guys. Drop us anything you want us to talk about, and we'll get that talked about. We'll break it down for you.
And again, go to front page of Tiger Bait. Almost all of our coverage is free. Brian's analysis is a premium, but $1 you can try out our premium, and when you pay that $1, you'll get the Arch Manning and the Walker Howard stuff. I'll have more recruiting, plus the War Room that you can easily find on Thursday. Basically tells you how the recruiting class is going to finish out for 21. And I've got another War Room coming for 22. 22 is gonna be a wild one. So
yeah,
subscribe to Tiger Bait for that. As I always say, choose the annual package for $99. It's a much better deal than going monthly. Because you're basically getting 3 months for free.
You know why I like it? Why I like the annual version of really anything I do?
What?
My wife can only see it once a year.
Yeah, it's
you know, hey, if it's once a year, I could probably get away with it.
It's called the WAF, the wife acceptance factor. It instead of getting the credit card bill dinged every month for a monthly charge, it's one time a year, and I think that's why Sam's and Costco and Amazon do it that way too.
No, even Kenneth Haynes is dropping that. Hold up, he says $100. It's $99. Come on, man. Yeah. Don't stiff the people here. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for watching tonight. I want to encourage anybody. I see a couple more comments. We're gonna get to those. But y'all, hit the bell. Subscribe to our live notifications on this feed. I've got a really cool announcement for my Wednesday show coming up. It has to do with one of my sponsors. But might have a new cool LSU piece for y'all. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't want to ruin it too much, but hit the bell. I promise you, if you're an LSU fan, you're gonna think it's really, really cool. So I'm very excited about my dude.
Hey, look at that. Aaron Abu Johnson. Before you guys sign off, man, I really appreciate the info you guys provide on LSU and really enjoyed the live. Thanks for the kind words. We just started doing these last year. That walk to the car started it all, and we haven't been looking back. And again, we appreciate Kenneth P. Haynes sponsoring this one, Pride Roofing sponsoring my weekly show. Kenneth P. Haynes, of course, is the official attorney of Tiger Bait, and Pride Roofing is the official roofing company. And then Preston's got sponsors and
thank you, Jordan Spector of Spector Sports Art, guy who made the incredible Burrow painting. Thank you for making all of our live show sponsors. You know, a year ago, Mike said I needed a millennial on staff to help with this, and I, kind of made it happen.
See, now his show's fancier than mine. He's got all the graphics, and I like to go low tech, and Kenneth likes the low tech too. So because I told him, I said, we can do it like Preston does with the brackets and and all the flashing lights and the poles at the bottom. He goes, no, he likes the, what do you call this, 2D? So is that us old guys that like this kind of stuff?
Well, maybe that's why you're
I love this. And then he also says he always likes how he can see in the screen what's on this TV on the other side.
Maybe that's why my show's sponsor is...
Currently, we got Florida and South Carolina highlights.
Yeah. Maybe that's why my sponsor's 28.
Hey, by the way, too, go to YouTube. We're loading our YouTube channel up with a video. I'm about to start, I teased it the other night. I'm about to start loading over a decade's worth of LSU prospect video. Some great stuff. Leonard Fournette is a sophomore. I've got Leonard Fournette for like 4 years. You know, you name them, I've got them. We've been filming everybody for years. I've got Trey Quinn. I mean, if they were an LSU prospect in Louisiana, we filmed them. I've got over 1,000 prospect videos from a decade's worth or more. And so go to YouTube, type in TigerBait.com. TigerBait.com without the comment, without the dot. TigerBait.com, subscribe, hit the notification bell there. And of course, do the same thing here on Facebook. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, follow first. And that way, every time we go live, you'll immediately get an alert to your cell phone. And Kenneth says checks in the mail. Oh, I already got it, Kenneth. I already got that check.
Well, I promised everybody.
In fact, I deposited it yesterday.
I promised everybody who left a comment we'd get to it. We got one comment, and we're going to log off here, guys. Right. Devin Coleman says there's a lot of ranked teams who lost. And that's true. It's kind of a chaotic year. You know, we saw Oklahoma lose last week. We saw Auburn lose this week and not look very good. I mean,
what was the line on that game? Georgia was, you know, who was picking Auburn over Georgia?
Not very many people.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't very much confidence in their quarterback there, but, you know, truth be told.
Here's the thing. I'm not buying Georgia. I wasn't buying A&M. I had Alabama and Florida as my picks for the divisions before COVID. And based on what I've seen so far, I'm going to stick with that. But like I said earlier in the show, I think this is going to be a fun LSU team to watch.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're someone who follows recruiting and knows all the names, knows who all these newcomers are. I think you're going to enjoy watching them every week, get their chance and improve. And then, you know, look, I've said this is an asterisk year. I think this is a year where you see what you got, you regroup, and then next year you go back to saying, hey, high expectations. Are you gonna go to Tuscaloosa and win again?
I would say, you know, for me, ceiling of expectations. Yes, all these teams can lose, but ultimately, you know, you still have to play Bama. That's going to be really tough.
Who's the non-conference games next year? Do you remember?
Oh goodness, I'm not that far ahead.
Is it UCLA?
I can't think.
I can't remember.
Ahead, man.
But anyways,
who knows?
I'm all over the place. But anyways, Oklahoma lost again.
I saw. I didn't know that till you.
I was waiting for you to say it because someone said.
I was like, you got to be kidding me, huh?
It's crazy.
I did not see it.
And I think that's why this year is just going to be. Look, think about where we were in July and August with Feinbaum and all the Corona bros threatening the college football season, the political stuff that was happening with it, and it working its way with politicians. You know, at one point we were worried we weren't even going to have football. So I think any way we can have it and keep it going, hopefully there's no COVID outbreaks and there's nothing that causes it to cease. But I'm just excited to have football.
You know, Mike Smith brings a great point that wraps up everything here tonight. We talked about, you know, I think it's not really reasonable to expect this team to make it to the playoffs, right? I think they're still developing a lot of stuff, and that's okay. This team could be crazy good for next season. I agree.
I think the goal for this team should be, man, can you believe that nice quality bowl that LSU's getting to go to or went to? And with all they lost off of last year, the opt-outs, you know, knock on wood, that there's no injuries that come LSU's way in the coming weeks that make them lose anybody else. But look, if you can go to a nice, high-quality bowl or a New Year's Day bowl after losing everything, I mean, we might very well be at the end of the year where you're saying, boy, Ed Orgeron was coach of the year with that 15-0, but the coaching job that they had to do with this young group
would probably be more impressive. Right?
I mean, might it be where you're saying it's just as impressive or not far behind? So I think that's the more realistic goals for the year. So
key is you got to get those juniors to return next year. So
look, there's seniors that you want to return. I mean, Liam Shanahan.
Really.
I mean, wouldn't you like to have Liam Shanahan back? What is he grade now?
That's a whole new angle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of things that you want to have happen there. So, thank y'all for tuning in tonight. And again, go to TigerBait.com. Subscribe. We want to have you. We'll be back next week. Thanks to Kenneth Haynes, attorney at law in Shreveport. Again, give him a call. And if you have any needs in that realm, and we'll talk next week. Thanks.
Thank y'all.
Mhm.